Have you ever felt like you are doing all of the right things when it comes to your health, but somehow you still just feel behind, like you're failing or just not quite good enough to get the job done? If so, this episode is for you. Because when I say healthy but human, I'm not being all sort of like cute and catchy with the name. I'm naming the problem that I constantly see, especially with capable, intelligent women like you. Health has become something that we need to manage, that we need to monitor, that we just need to get right, instead of it being actually something that supports the life that we are having right now in this season. And that's what I want to talk about today. So I'm Julie. I'm a women's wellbeing coach and personal trainer, and I am here to help you build habits that fit your life. Not this fantasy one that diet culture constantly tries to sell us. This is where we untangle our habits, we untangle our noise, we rethink what healthy actually means to us, and we make changes that feel doable, that feel calm, and that feel genuinely yours rather than someone else's. So, what healthy has come to mean? Somewhere along the way, healthy stopped being something that was supportive to us and starting meaning things that we have to control, that we have to be consistent with at all costs. And we have to be disciplined, even when life is just lifing with us. And also something that costs quite a lot of money. Like, have you noticed how expensive everything to do with health has become? Because when we buy into this world that we can't possibly think for ourselves, everything else gets expensive. Thank you, marketing. But for a lot of women, health now comes with this food noise. Like, and food noise is a bit of a buzzword as well, or at least it was last year. It's like this constant kind of chatter. And it's nice to have a name to something, right? So we have this food noise, constant jibber jabbering about food all day long. What should I do? What shouldn't I do? Am I allowed to have this? Can I have this? What's going to be for dinner whilst you're eating your lunch? It means that we are constantly self monitoring what it is that we are doing. Again, am I doing this right? Should I be doing that instead? So and so says I should be doing this. Maybe I should be doing that. And we're constantly checking in on what it is that we are failing at instead of actually thinking, what is it that I want to do? And then we feel this guilt when life just gets busy, like we should be able to manage our life and we should be able to manage our health. And we should do, we both of those need to go together. But we are doing it in a way where health and life aren't syncing up together. They are two separate things that we're doing. We can't quite merge them together yet. So more people are struggling. And that gives this kind of feeling of, I should be doing this better. Is there a way that I can do this better? Why is it just me that can't seem to do this? And the hardest part is that most women don't actually question the system that they're using. We don't question diet culture. We don't question health culture or fitness culture. We don't question the way that we're told to do it. We question ourselves instead. So we're the ones that's a problem. We're the ones that are broken. We're the ones that don't have enough willpower, power, discipline, motivation. It's on us, except it's not. We are just led to believe that we can't trust ourselves when it comes to these things that we have to make choices about. And I want to say this, and I want to say it kind of from a place of love. If health is feeling heavy, stressful, or even fragile, and by that I mean if you can only stick to this plan that you're doing when life is perfect and it falls apart when life is just lifing, that is what I mean by fragile. It is not a personal failure. You are not broken. There is nothing wrong with you. It's what it is that you're doing. It's that path that you're taking. It's a system, the whole diet culture system that is not built to actually support you reach your goal. That's harsh. I know that's harsh. Nobody wants to hear that, but that is true. It is that, um, diet culture is built there to keep repeat customers in the whole, in the bigger picture, anyway. So, what do I mean when I say human? The human part of healthy but human. Humans have fluctuating energies. So, it goes up and it goes down and it changes from day to day. But we also have responsibilities and we have emotions and we have hormones and we have seasons. We have seasons of life and we have the seasons um, in on like Earth itself. I definitely could have thought of a better sessions than that. But we have the spring, the summer, autumn, and winter, right? Our seasons. And when they change, our energy changes. In winter, we just want to wrap up underneath a duvet cover on the sofa with a fire on and be nice and warm and snug. And we don't want to go outside there into the real world and actually do something that requires more energy because we are in hibernation mode. And then spring starts to come. I don't know if you've noticed. I mean, I'm recording this in end of January. I don't know if you've noticed the weather outside. Last week it was absolutely hammering it down, but we've got blue skies. All the flowers are starting to come up from the ground. And in my personal training clients, there is this shift. And like, I don't know if they've seen it, but I've noticed this shift in them where they're just like, right, let's go. Because we are led by the seasons as well. And I think sometimes we underappreciate the things that we think we should do in January because it's a new year, New Year's resolutions. We should be motivated, but actually, I think we should be made motivated in February, towards the end of February, when spring starts to come out, when we see these blue skies and it's mildly like warmer than it was like 2 weeks ago and the rain has stopped and the flowers are coming up and life starts to like live again. The seasons, like I think sometimes, yeah, like I said, I think we miss that sometimes. And we have our hormones, so we have our cycles, don't we? And some weeks we've got all the get up and go in the world, and then other weeks we're like, nope, I'm sitting on the sofa back onto that duvet eating chocolate. But some weeks we are more steadier than others. And that's perfectly normal. This is part of being human. We have thinking brains that just think all the time. We have bodies that need to speed up and slow down sometimes. And we eat differently from one day to the next, 1 week to the next, 1 month to the next. Think about what you eat in the summer compared to what it is that you eat in the winter. They are vastly different. And same as day, if you've exercised one day and you're particularly hungry, or maybe you didn't eat enough the day before, you're going to be a bit more hungry the next day. It changes. Humans change. Our needs change. And we don't consider that when we are following these plans or these strict rules or these counting calories and things like that. That's not considered in like normal uniqueness of human beings. It's very standardized. I think that's the word. Um, excuse me. Uh, so, uh, so, so those things don't count. Don't consider the fact that you are a human, um, and we also don't have any flexibility in a lot of the things that we do. So, we something happens, something goes wrong, we don't do what we say we're going to do, and we punish ourselves for that, and like emotionally punish ourselves for that. We beat ourselves up. We tell ourselves such horrible things to ourselves when all we really need to do is figure out how to adapt it, how to be flexible in it. This is the human approach. And when we look at health from a human aspect of it, our uniqueness and our unique thinking patterns that we have and behaviors that we have, we're not asking how can I do this perfectly. We're asking how do I live this in my real life in this season that I'm in right now, whether that's season of your life or whether that's actually the season that we are in, instead of fighting yourself with it all the time. So healthy but human means consistency, because if you want to achieve anything, you have to be able to be consistent with it, but we don't want it to be rigid. We don't want it to be so set in stone that we just cannot deviate from it. And we want to be caring towards us without it being controlling. Yes, we want to be considerate and think about what it is that we are eating and doing that is going to be moving forwards, but we don't want it to be in a way that is controlled. Again, this comes back to that flexibility as well. And then we want to create habits that adapt flexibility instead of collapsing when life gets happy, when life just happens, because children get sick, work takes over, summer happens, life gets busy, and we have to be able to make life stuff and health stuff fit together instead of them being two completely separate things, which is why I've called it healthy but human. See, maybe it is a bit cute, but it's not meant to be cute. It just explains exactly what it is that we need that we need to be doing with it. We need to think about health, but we also need to think about the human aspect. And the human aspect is the one that trips us up all the time. Think about how our brains work and these self-sabotaging things that we do when we are going after health. That's not a health thing, that's a brain thing. That's your brain doing its beautiful human brain thing and thinking for you and protecting you from something that, I mean, it's a whole different podcast in itself, but the things that you are doing right now are benefiting you in some way, whether they're helping towards your goal or not, that's completely different, but they are benefiting you in some way, because if they didn't, you wouldn't do them anymore. So they are benefiting you. Just sometimes need to find out what that benefit is and how you can change it so you're still getting that benefit, but you're doing it in a more helpful way towards your goal. That's a whole episode in itself. So healthy but human is not a reset plan. It is not a diet plan. It is not a set of rules that you have to follow properly. You can do it in your own way. It is not a motivational program. I'm not going to sit there and big you up all the time and give you like affirmations to kind of follow through with. And it's not a system that only works when your life is working perfectly. That when life is just calm, it is supposed to work with your life as it is now, which is why we do small steps, which is why we take the big goal and we break it down so that you can make it work. You've got children, but you don't want to cook 3 different meals every single evening. You make it work. This is about the flexibility of it, because when we have them both, we have the children's meals and we have our meals. And when we're constantly trying to fight against that, because we don't want to cook anyway, why would we want to cook 2 meals every single evening? So we just figure out a way how we can make them both work together. I have children who are super fussy eaters. If it's not chicken nuggets, chips, or pizzas, and it's bloody pasta, and that is pretty much the limit of their diet. We are trying. So it doesn't rely on willpower. It doesn't ask you to override these needs that you have to make it work, the human aspect of you. We figure out what's going on and we work with that. And we figure out how all of this fits into your life, and we work with that. We take you and your needs into account, or you take you and your needs into account. It's not a one-to-one program, but you take those needs into account, and then you work with that and you flow with it and you adapt it where you need to. And it doesn't require you to start over every single time life gets busy. Doesn't ask you to stop over the summer, doesn't ask you to stop over Christmas. It doesn't it just fits into your life. That's the point. It fits into your life over the summer and over Christmas. That's what I meant. So instead, it teaches you how to continue without the guilt, because if guilt comes along for the ride, then it's no fun at all, because every decision that you make is just loaded with guilt. You follow the rules of the healthy diet or that program that you're following, and you feel guilt when you do something else. You do something else and you feel guilty that you're not being healthy. We want to get rid of that. That's not helpful for us. It's not going to get us anywhere, especially when we want to create a relationship with food that is more helpful. We need to be able to get rid of that guilt. We need to be able to get rid of those rules. And we learn how to adjust what it is that we're doing. So in a previous episode, I talked about following a different path towards that same goal. It's the same, but we learn how to not judge ourselves for what we think is a failure, but actually it's just a little like reroute. It's just a little we're on this path here, and all we're doing is stepping to the side and just taking a little different path. That's it. We don't need to judge ourselves for that. And it builds trust instead of building control. When we're trying to control everything that we are doing, it becomes a lot harder. When we're trying to follow everybody else's rules about what we should be doing, it becomes a lot harder because we're not thinking for ourselves. And then the only way that we continue with this is if we continue to follow that plan instead of us thinking, what is it that I'd like? If this restaurant doesn't serve the only things that I'm allowed, then I can't eat. Then I'm going to feel guilty because I've eaten something that I'm not allowed to have. So we go out into the world and we trust ourselves that, okay, ideally, I want to eat this. If that's not there, I'm just going to pick something else. No biggie, no drama. That's what we want. Trust you instead of trusting what other people tell you you should be doing. Creating independent choices. That's ultimately what it comes down to, right? So I don't just want to bombard you with what a healthy but human is. So I'm going to give you a question that's going to help you think about what it is that you're doing. So it's like a question swap. So instead of asking yourself, am I being good today? Love that question. Like, am I a good girl? It's very, I shouldn't laugh. I'm not laughing. I'm laughing at myself because I know where that comes from. But it's like, am I being good today? It's like when we stand on the scales, it's like, have I been good? Yay, look, the scales told me I have. I know that feeling very well. So instead, I got sidetracked. So instead, I want you to ask yourself, is this helping me feel more, whatever it is that your goal is right now? And when I say feeling, I mean, what is it underneath that goal that you're looking for? So we have this goal that we want, but there's a feeling underneath that that actually is the thing that we're craving the most um because we can't just it's not just about deciding what it is that we want. If people want, I'm going to come back to weight loss just because it's the easiest thing to talk about. If we want weight loss, it's not the weight loss that we actually want, it's this feeling that that is going to bring us. So if we want to be an exerciser, if we want to enjoy exercise, what is that feeling there that wants us to enjoy that we want to have from that thing that we want to achieve? Does that make sense? Went all around the bushes there to explain something. And that's it. So is this helping me feel better about myself right now? That's it. Just have some faith that you are doing the right thing for your life in this moment in time. And that's how we kind of start to move forward in a bit more of a compassionate way and start trusting ourselves that we do actually know what it is that we're doing. So that's it. And it's just asking that question creates that different relationship with yourself. It creates, like I said, it creates that self-trust. And you'll start to notice that maybe you're feeling a little less pressured to do it all right. Certainly less all of this all or nothing thinking that it's like we're either on it or off it. If we're doing it perfectly, we're doing it perfectly. If we're not, then we may as well just stop. That's not helpful. So, and then we have more permission to actually choose what fits into your life. How I live my life is absolutely not the same way that you'll live yours. Why? Because we have two completely different lives. Maybe you work more hours. Maybe you have more children. Maybe you're a single parent. Maybe life is just busy. You don't like the same foods I like. You don't like the same exercise I like. You don't think the same way that I think. So things have to be different. So you have to do them in a way that fits into your life. The foundations of it all are all the same, but how you do it is completely different. How you exercise, how you eat is going to be completely different, but the fundamental parts of it are all the same. So what actually is healthy but human, and where does this membership thing fit into it, and what the hell is it? Basically, so healthy but human is a like it's a course and a membership kind of combined in together, because the course, I'll get to that in a minute, but it helps you, women in particular, who are just done with diet culture. And I know that I was very much done years ago with diet culture. I was sick of the rules. I was sick of being told what to do and feeling like shit when I followed them and or didn't follow them. Or maybe you've been thinking like, the way that I'm doing this is just not working for me anymore, but I have no idea what to do instead. And I remember thinking, when I decided that like these rules just weren't working for me anymore, I remember thinking like, well, what do I do now then? It's like, so what diet do I need to go on that doesn't have any of these rules? That's the point. It's not a diet. You have to remove yourself from this idea that following a diet plan is the only solution for you, because it's not. The only solution is thinking about what it is that you want to do, what healthy looks like for you, what healthy eating looks like for you, what healthy movement looks like for you. That is how you actually reach that goal that you want to reach. So instead we focus on reducing this mental load that we have around food and these habits that we're trying to create. And we build them so that we are able to be consistent with them without having the burnout, without going into this all or nothing kind of situation that we find ourselves in. And we learn how to adapt, making healthy fit into our actual real lives with kids and husband and houses and jobs, just get to come along for the ride. And instead of making it the other way around. And I know that that probably sounds really scary. And that is probably the point of it. Let me just process exactly what my brain is going to say next. It is we've relied on somebody else telling us what to do with our food, exercise, all of our healthy habits for so long that we have lost faith in ourselves. We have lost our ability to be able to truly know, to decide what it is that we want. Because how many times have we said when we've been to, let's say, diet clubs, and we've said, this works. I know this works, but it only works if I do it. That's one of those rules. That's one of those rules with condition. We don't want this only works if I do it. This works for my life. I want this to work for my life. I don't want it to work when I'm being perfect. I don't want it to work when I'm going to the group. I don't want it just to work when I'm following it perfectly. I want this to work for the life that I have. And I want to know that I can take a week off and I'll still be absolutely fine. Because what we want to do is not based on how many days we've done it in a row, how many weeks we've done it in a row, how long we've done it consistently. We just want to know that we can do this consistently and it not be such a drama that we're either on it or off it, or it's so consuming that it's the only thing that you think about. There's that food noise. Why has we got that food noise there? Because it is literally the only thing that we are able to think about, and it's been designed that way for a reason, which is really, I don't know if I'm explaining it well enough. I'm not sure. My brain was downloading that as I was saying it, so I don't know if it came out all right. Let's move on. So what it's not about doing more. It's not about following all of the rules. It's not about doing every single thing inside of the course. It is literally about making it feel lighter, making it feel calmer and more sustainable. So the first part, there's two parts to the course membership program, hybrid program, whatever you want to call it, is that the first part is the course, and there is an initial payment with the course, and that is to cover the entire course itself, like 6 modules, all bite-sized lessons to go through, workbooks to go with it, because why is there an initial price in the first place? Because I want to make it affordable because I don't think health should be expensive. I don't think the information that I have should be kept to myself behind an expensive, like £1,000 program. I don't believe that should be how it works. Um, but I also don't want to sell it at the membership price because that's not sustainable for me. So there is an initial price. And if you don't want to carry on with the membership, you can absolutely cancel afterwards. It's absolutely fine. But so there is the course, which is 6 modules, every lesson in like 5 to 10 minutes as a rough guide. And you just work through them. We have the foundations, we have the mindset work, we have the food and um, how to eat in a way that actually supports you and doesn't require any rules to follow, creating a balanced kind of meal. We have the movement, we have what goes on up in the head. Emotional eating is in there too. Um, and then there's some little workshops about like the scales and things like that, or the relationship that you have with the scales in particular. And then the membership is where you get supported. So you have monthly topics to that we focus on every single month. And this is based on predominantly the content that is in the course. So we deep dive into that, or I bring in another topic, maybe self-sabotage, and we just deep dive into that. Then we have 2 group calls a month that will increase over time to weekly as it kind of grows. And these coaching calls are on Zoom. They are group calls, Q&A calls where you can ask any questions that you're struggling with. And we also have hot seat coaching. So hot seat coaching is where you just stick up your hand when you're on the call, and we basically just have like a one-to-one coaching chit chat to solve the problem area or the challenge that you're struggling with, or it can be based on the topic of the month. Um, Hopefully that makes sense. You also have an Ask Coaches support system, so you can just fill out a form and that comes along to me, and then I can reply to you. So or I can direct you to the best place to find that information. And then we also have the community group with women who feel pretty much the same way as you do. Because although we want to think that our challenges are completely unique to us, that nobody else could possibly be feeling this way, I can assure you we do. We feel diet culture, we feel the food noise, we feel the struggles with the lack of motivation or the feeling of lack of motivation or lack of process. We all feel it, maybe in different contexts, but we all feel it. So anything you say is probably nothing that I haven't heard before anyway, even from myself. So I think that's it. I think I have come to the end. So if this episode made you feel like relief rather than feeling like you have to be motivated, this is exactly where you are supposed to be. So if you do want to join up, go to julieridley.com/healthy but human. I will leave that in the show notes. And just to finish up, like and subscribe, or leave a comment in the comment section, and like and subscribe wherever it is that you're listening to this. You don't need fixing. You don't need more discipline. You don't need to be someone else's version of healthy. You simply just get to decide what that looks like for you, how it is that you're going to do it. You just need an approach that actually honors the fact that you are a human with a human brain and you have a life outside of just being healthy. So if you want to explore the membership, like I said, I'll leave the details in the show notes. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you in there, hopefully. And if you have any questions on today, sorry, no, if you take away just one thing from today, just ask yourself, is this helping me feel good? I'll say that again. Is this helping me feel good? That's a really helpful place to start. So until next time, I will speak to you very soon.